We paid over $100 to go up this mountain, and then up the top, it was a restaurant and some souvenir shops. Was it worth it? Alright, this is the start of our expensive journey. Okay, this is at the entrance of the park. So the drive is pretty cool. You go from dense forest and then like to a kind of thinning tree line, occasional trees, and then eventually up towards the top it's just straight rock fields with no trees, just like a couple shrubs here and there. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying my content. Takes anywhere from 25 to 50 minutes depending on if you get stuck behind someone that is afraid of going over 5 miles an hour, because there isn't a guardrail, which did happen when we were there. We got stuck behind someone that would stop every time there was oncoming traffic, which was every couple seconds. So I found this review that I'm gonna read some of to give you a little idea. They start by saying, "Wow, we had a couple of options to get to the top of Mount Washington, such as the Cog Railway or shuttle operated by the park. Well, we decided that it was much cheaper to drive yourself. However, in our ignorance, we got the written instructions they gave you and the CD, read the basics, then set off on our adventure. It wasn't long before we realized that, hey, this is no sloping mountain drive. This was Fear Factor at its ugliest." I thought it was pretty cool. She goes on to say, "Eat bugs? Question mark 3 times. Sure, we would have willingly eaten a few in exchange for what was next to come." Seems quite exaggerated, given that I did the same drive. "The very ultra-narrow road, which accommodates two-way traffic, quickly got narrower. Mind you, the road was built in 1856 for some sort of buggy, not huge SUVs. Soon we realized that about 6 inches of crumbling extra side road and nothing else separated us from certain death." Yeah, okay, there were spots that were pretty narrow, but this is dramatic. Like, it was still wide enough you didn't have to stop. She goes on to say, "There are no guardrails on the ascent. The presumptuous drop is mainly on the right side, so that makes it the most hair-raising side of the journey. Later we found out that it was about this time that we all started a silent prayer which never ended until hour and a half later when we were down. At some point, the road was so narrow that you have to stop to let the other vehicles squeeze past and hope that you are not one taking the tumble. The vistas are second to none, as this is the tallest mountain on the East Coast. The mountains spread out in the distance and under you. They are truly an amazing sight. Even in our terror, we couldn't help marvel. My son was in the passenger seat next to my hubby. Well, they both leaned left for the rest of the trip, as if hoping to ensure that we didn't tip over the side. As we neared the summit, the road fell away on both sides, so there was no mountain wall on either side. We managed to get to the rocky parking lot, legs shaking and in need of a sedative. My husband didn't get out of the car at the top. He said he stayed in the car to plan a strategy on how to actually get down off the mountain." So that goes on for quite a bit longer, but I think you get the picture with this. I mean, I did not think it was that bad. It was very narrow. There were long drops on the side that they're talking about, but I did not feel like my life was in danger. I also didn't think that we needed to stop every time a car was passing. It is kind of narrow though. Let me know what you think if you've been up there. So I found that review was just kind of exaggerated. It was funny to read it though. When you get behind someone that thinks they need to stop every time a car goes by, it makes it take 2 or 3 times as long to get to the top. Not to mention that we had to pay, I think it was around $130 for 4 of us to go up. So it was like $45 for the driver and the car, and then 20 a person to go up the mountain because it was peak season. And then when you get up to the top, they have a museum that you can pay to get into, a restaurant that you can pay overpriced prices to get food, and like 2 or 3 gift shops. They do have some hiking places that you can stop along the way up to the top, but aside from like the slow drivers, nowhere to put a hammock to just chill up top because there's no trees. The cost to get into the park and the tourist trap up at the top. The drive is really cool. I've never been on anything that steep, and the mountains all around with the clouds looked really, really neat. The views from the top are really spectacular, but I don't think I will be spending the money to go back up anytime soon. It's kind of something that you do once just to say that you've done it, because it's the highest point on the East Coast. I do expect to hike up the Appalachian Trail, which goes up the mountain in the future at some point, but that's much cheaper. Like $20 a person and $45 for the driver is just stupid. I think it's a cool thing to do. Just know that it's gonna be pretty pricey. You can take the gondola if you don't want to drive, but I think that's like $200 a person. I'm not sure exactly how much a shuttle bus is. But yeah, if you're in the area and you've got oodles of cash, the drive up and the views at the top are really cool.